Hi, this is Emma Thompson, and this is my educational philosophy. So, our first question is why music? And I think that music should be taught because it really exposes students to something that they're not exposed to in a normal classroom setting. It exposes them to the arts and it makes them see the beauty in things. Without music, people don't necessarily realize the beauty and the art of the natural world. And I think that's really important to expose students to, and it really gets them thinking in a different way. When you're playing music, you're using different thoughts, or you're using different feelings, and you have to put emotion into it and use your hands and use your eyes and your ear. That is everything coming together. So that's what I think music's really valuable to teach in the schools. Music is so necessary because, like I said before, this is the things that music teaches can't be taught anywhere else. You can't teach how to use your eyes and your ears and your fingers and your creativity and all that stuff in a math class. You're just not going to get the same combination of all of your senses and all of your ideas and thoughts into one thing. So I think it's really beneficial for students to be able to have a place to use everything in just one project. Why do we need music teachers? We need music teachers because there's no one else qualified to teach music, quite honestly, because it is such a different subject and something so different from the core subjects like math and English and history. You can't just stick a random teacher into a music class and tell them to go. Music is really something that I think you need to have studied to teach. And I mean, I know you need to teach, you still need to study math and stuff and science and all that stuff before you teach it, but you really need to, I think, understand music more than you need to understand math or history to teach it, because you really need to understand why the notes are in that place and why the rhythms are in that place and how to get the emotion out of it. And you need to be able to tell your students how to do that. I think it's so different than just things that you just do. 2 plus 2 will always equal 4. But a B and A and G can be combined in so many different ways to make so many different patterns and musical ideas. And I think that's why it takes so much studying to be able to teach music. So our next question is, who is music for? And I think that music should be required up until middle school or junior high or whatever they call it. And I think that's because that's when the children really get a taste for what they like and what they don't like. And I understand that in junior high or middle school or in high school that the students are so much busier, and I think that's when they should have the choice of what kind of classes they want to take and what they're interested in. And I think that music should be targeted to absolutely everyone. And in my future classroom, absolutely anyone who wants to join. I don't care if you haven't touched an instrument or if you played an instrument since you were 3 years old. I want you in my band. I will teach anybody how to play an instrument. And I think that can be really effective because that allows not only me to teach, but it allows other students to teach. Maybe the student who is sitting next to the guy who's played trumpet since he was in 3rd grade just picked up the trumpet, and then the student who's more experienced can help teach. And I think that teaching helps you learn. So I think that's why I think that music should be targeted towards absolutely everybody. And I mean, ideally, I would love to have music every day, but that's my personal opinion. I think that music's important every day. I think that it helps provide a mental break to students and helps them use their brain in an absolutely different way. Sitting in a classroom for hours on end just doing one thing, drilling and drilling and drilling, can be so exhausting. And just using your brain in a different way for an hour a day can just make such a difference and help the students just kind of have time to reset for their other classes. So what kind of music should be taught in schools? I think that every type of music that can be taught should be taught. I think that exposing students to all these different genres of music that they may have never heard of before can be so beneficial and really help expand their knowledge, their creativity, and maybe they'll end up liking it. I know before I started playing in concert band, I didn't like classical music, and now it's my favorite. I love to just listen to it, and I love just hearing all the textures in it, and that's not something that I would have known I liked if I hadn't been exposed to it. So I think that classical music, jazz music, pop music, rock music, any kind of music that I can teach, I want to teach. I want to have my kids exposed to everything. And if I'm not teaching something and someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, Miss Thompson, I want to learn about this," I'll figure out a way to do it. What kind of classes should there be? Obviously, a normal band room instruction is what I will basically be working with just because that's what everyone's used to. But if I can work out a way to maybe make a small group of a rock group or whatever students are interested in, if they want to do something and they want to have fun doing it, I will help teach them. Whatever they want to do, I will find a way to do it. If that means having a class in a computer lab because that's the only space available, that's okay. I'll do it. I just really think that music should be everything. It should be absolutely every genre that people are interested in and people want to learn about. Right? Other philosophies, I think above all, music should be fun. I know, I'm not delusional, I know that not every person in my future band room is going to be a music education major or a performance major, and I don't want them to be. I want them to be there because they want to be there, and that's why I think music should be fun, and that's why I'm really passionate about finding ways to use things that kids like in instruction. If I can relate a chord progression or a rhythm or something to a popular song to help kids understand it, then I'll do it. I just think that music should be fun overall because it is an elective. It's not a required class. So why would students choose to be there if they're not enjoying it? So I think that my job as a future music teacher is to make my classroom environment as positive and fun and welcoming as possible. And that above all is what I think a music education should consist of.